Just a little bit of enmity, and a little bit of brutal animosity, and a little bit of unremitting savagery. Took a little bit of Charles Lee to wake the beast, and now I'm like, hey, when my tomahawk is wrecking every ligament and artery you have in possession, it's not just your uppercut I'm taking offense with. If you're in my way, I'll split your brain in 8 directions. Hey father, why'd you kill that man? He may have had family to attend. Unlovely, non-combusted land, though I suspect you wouldn't understand. Hey, my apologies, I happen to be...
Cranberries.
The Cranberries, you know.
No.
The band The Cranberries. You never heard of them before?
Everything could have a band name these days.
I think we have to end this podcast.
But it hasn't even started yet.
Such hit songs as Dreams, Linger, Zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds made up.
What year were you born again?
91.
Then you should have been, what, like 5, 4 when they came out?
Sure, I was totally listening to bands called Cranberry at that time.
The Cranberries.
And not Lamb Chop or Barney. Totally.
Wasn't Lamb Chop, like, dead by then?
Lamb Chop never dies. Lamb Chop lives on.
There is a band called Lamb of God. That's kind of close to Lamb Chop.
I'm sure there's a band called Lamb Chop out there.
Oh, probably.
What were we talking about? Why are we here? What's going on?
Apparently there's an E3 coming up.
Oh, really?
I guess I should say first, are we recording?
We have just started recording, so
Sweet.
Everybody, welcome to the podcast. It's me, Andrex, there's Spooie. Say hi, Spooie.
Hello.
That's not Spooie's real voice. And AstralFrost, thank you for joining us.
Hey.
You are welcome.
So yeah, we got an E3 coming up tomorrow. I guess Sony and Microsoft's conference are tomorrow. Correct me if I'm wrong about that.
They are.
I haven't been keeping up that much. I know
Yes, they are.
Nintendo's is on Tuesday. Spooie, you won't be watching the Nintendo one from what I hear?
I might be. I have a diabetic eye exam to go to on Tuesday, but depending on when it actually is there, I might be able to see some of it.
Just bring a smartphone or something. Watch it while you're having the eye exam.
I have a track phone, and I use it maybe like once every 4 months.
Ah, that's no good, dude.
I'm not really a big guy for phones and stuff.
Huh.
But maybe I'll get that laptop in the next year, and everything will be okay.
You can't make phone calls. Well, I guess you can on a laptop. I do sometimes.
I can make Skype calls, and that's really what's important, isn't it?
Yeah, that is important. That's very important. That's the entire reason we're here. Thank you for considering that.
Give it up for Skype!
As a
Microsoft product.
The Gcast, sponsored by Microsoft.
Jump in!
I'll put the Xbox, yeah.
The chime thing?
Yeah, that chime thing at the start of the podcast.
You can't tell right now, but I'm actually waggling like for Connect. I can't operate Skype without it.
That's just sad. Okay, so news. There was a big brouhaha last night about The Last Guardian being canceled. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. IGN might have made it up. Sony might have made it up to catch a leaker. There's a bunch of weirdo, wacko theories going on now. I don't think any of us here are really invested personally in like the outcome of whether it's canceled or not.
Doesn't matter to me much.
Yeah.
I mean, if it comes out and it's good, that's great, but it's not like I've been dying for 6 years for the thing to come out.
Well, do you have a PS3, Spooey?
I do. I have 2 PS3s.
That's right. Are you getting a PS4 anytime soon?
Probably not.
Yeah, so we probably wouldn't be able to play it. What about you, Brandon?
I have a PlayStation 3, but I assumed that they were going to move it to 4, but I don't know.
Yeah, I thought they had moved it like a while ago, but I guess maybe I'm thinking of Final Fantasy Versus 13, which is another long in development game.
I have some news about that too.
Oh, do tell.
Ooh.
So that and Kingdom Hearts 3 won't be at E3. Um,
Hmm.
it's actually now called Final Fantasy 15 because they don't want to associate it with the
Right.
the trilogy of Lightning games. So,
Right.
but anyway, um, and Kingdom Hearts 3 also will skip. So I'm thinking TGS maybe. I don't know for those, but they're coming. They're just
Final Fantasy 15 is kind of. I'm sure Kingdom Hearts 3 is actually like under development. Um, they seem to be handling the Kingdom Hearts franchise pretty decently. With Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance in the meantime. Now it seems like they're finally ready to move on to next gen console hardware, so that's nice. And we got that 2.5 HD remix coming out later this year, I guess.
mhm.
So I think they have all their ducks in a row for Kingdom Hearts, but I'm not expecting 15 to come out anytime soon, to be honest.
I think next year is a safe bet.
Next year it'll release, or next year we'll have more info
It'll
about it.
release. It'll come out next year. Yeah,
15? Really?
because they went into full development a couple years ago, so uh, by that time it'll have been 4 years, in actual full production. So at least. So I think it'll come out. I mean, they showed a lot of it last year. They said it's just that it wasn't the right time, which is just PR speak for we don't really have anything ready to present.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping, when is TGS? August? I don't know.
It's September usually.
Oh, okay. So maybe they'll show it then. I'm hoping. But I don't blame you for being skeptical because they first showed it in like what, 06, 07?
Yeah, 06.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wonder what's going on in the development of these games sometimes. It seems like.
Well, here's my question. For people who are familiar with Kingdom Hearts, what differentiates all of the spin-off Kingdom Hearts from just the first two? I mean, I keep hearing when's 3 coming out, but they've released like half a dozen in that time frame.
Well,
Does it matter that it doesn't have the number 3 after it, or are people just
yeah,
not happy about that?
for the most part. I mean, a lot of people, when Birth by Sleep came out for PSP, a lot of people said that was Kingdom Hearts 3, and in a lot of ways it was because it moved the story forward quite a bit. It had interesting evolution of the series gameplay from 2, and Dream Drop Distance on 3DS was similar. It was kind of the same idea where they improved the gameplay systems and moved the story forward quite a bit actually in that game. And now it seems like 3 is kind of like the finale to whatever saga they've been building up to. So I guess you could say like Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance were they weren't like
They were the X-Men Origins Wolverine of the X-Men series.
no, they were more like the Birth by Sleep was definitely more like the first class of the series, I think.
And the third one will be the Days of Future Past.
Maybe I don't know. I think we're kind of stretching these analogies a little far. But yeah, I think everybody's looking forward to 3 because it's like the big conclusion. And there's some people who will only play the series on consoles, so they're not going to buy a PSP or a 3DS to play it, and they're missing out, I think.
Mhm.
One of these days I'll play one of the games. So I have 2 of them here.
You're spending all your time cleaning, dude. That's your problem.
Well, I'm actually getting rid of it now. It used to be just moving it from one spot to another.
That sounds like hell.
It's been fun the last 2 days. I've never felt better after taking a shower in my life than the last few days.
It's pretty nice. Did you clean out your bathroom? Was it like boxes piled in your shower or something?
Well, there were in my basement. Now, pretty much all that's out of the basement in my garage, and tomorrow I'm getting a disposal bin that's going to be dropped off, and then it's going to be basically tossed out. I've pretty much gone through every single item, so things from my childhood, things that I put down there in 2003 when I moved
Couple
that
skeletons.
I haven't touched. A couple. Like, I have a bin filled with Legos, and I tossed the whole thing out, and every single piece of Lego I literally went through in my hand to see what it was, and I tossed it out.
What? You don't throw Legos out, dude.
Well, I saved some of the people, but pretty much all the Legos. Yeah. I'm going to try to submerge them in some kind of solution to salvage a couple things.
Yeah.
But probably like 97% of everything that's down there is going to be just tossed out. So
It's a good idea, dude. I did the same thing. When I lived with my parents, I had kind of like a closet area, and I spent about a week cleaning that out, and it just felt so good to be able to like walk in there and only have a couple boxes in there instead of having it all strewn about.
So after a week, you came out of the closet and felt good about yourself.
Basically, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
All right. Well, that's good.
Geez, what else is there to talk about? Do you guys
I
have
heard
any?
I heard Mario Kart 8 came out like a week ago. Have you
Yeah.
heard about this?
Yes, Mario Kart 8. We even had a tournament last Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Do you
That
have?
was going to be streamed, I believe, at one point, right?
It was, but then my streaming setup kind of fell apart. But I have a new router now, which is really super fast, so I don't feel that streaming and being online possibly might get messed up. So I think I'll be
Are we
streaming
going to
it
see some
this
vengeful
week.
looks from Luigi this time?
It seems to be that seems to be the big thing now, is that Luigi's
Who
death
knew he was
stare.
such a sinister? Maybe it's because he's gotten the shaft all these years. I mean, Mario's got like 1,000 games, and he's just got a mansion with like a Ghostbuster pack.
Well, they did
And-
do the whole Year of Luigi thing last year, but maybe he doesn't want it to end, I
Yeah,
think.
he gets a year. Mario gets like a century. I don't know how that works out.
I don't think Mario's been around for a century, dude.
Well, I'm sorry, Jumpman.
Yeah, Mario
But
Mario Kart
We
8.
should be able to look forward to that on more of the streams down the line. I would assume, right?
What's that?
More Mario Kart on
Yeah.
the G streams, right? Is that what we're calling them again? So, or is it
Mm.
G forum streams, or would you like to call it?
They're G-Forum streams. Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I call it G streams, but then I'm that guy who does crazy things that doesn't make sense. So.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I streamed some stuff a
You
couple
d-
weeks ago.
You do. You and 666s have
666.
been carrying the flag forward on the streams while some of us have been a little lazy. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I got some. You're welcome. I got some S video cables and an upscaler.
Ooh, S-Video.
And
90s in here.
Wow.
yeah, I bought. Well, it's funny because I bought like this $10 one that was specifically for Super Nintendo,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks absolutely awful on my HD TV. I mean, it looks better. It looks better than composite, where composite would just be like blurred. Basically, it straightens the lines out, but it leaves this weird striping effect over all the colors, and depending on which color it is, it has a worse effect. And then I bought a set from an Intex set for $4 on Amazon, and it's one of those. It was designed for the GameCube, Xbox, and PlayStation 2, but it also duals for like the N64, the Super Nintendo, and the PS1. And that thing was $4, and it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than just the standard third-party one that I bought for the Super Nintendo there. So I actually streamed some games, and I don't know if you noticed or not, but I played through all of Mega Man X about a week and a half ago.
The whole game?
Yes. So I don't think it was saved though, but that's fine. So most people probably weren't watching it.
That's great because I've been going through Mega Man X2. Actually, I think I tried streaming it one night, but it kept cutting out for some reason.
You know, you're using the Elgato game capture, correct?
I am, but I think it was probably more my my router setup. So now that I have a new router, I think that should go a lot smoother.
Do you ever change the brightness or the contrast settings?
No, not really.
Okay, because I usually put mine. I don't know how it is on the PC end. Well, actually, are you using it on the PC or using it on your laptop?
Last time I used it on my MacBook Air. So
Okay, because when I'm using it now, I usually set the brightness to 3, the contrast to 5, and the color or saturation, whatever it is, to 17, because I think it's not quite as bright as it should be. And I notice when I stream, unless the brightness or contrast is on 0, it tends to lag. And I remember once when I played through Street Fighter Alpha on the Game Boy Color, I finished the game, I turned it off, I hopped in the shower, I made food, and I came back, and it was still streaming it from the lag. And when I turned all that off and just did the zeros, it was fine. There was like no lag at all. It was maybe like a 20-second delay for the entire stream.
Maybe that was a Twitch thing.
I don't know, because I've switched it between that just to I'll jump on once in a while and just do random 3-minute test streams for it. And anytime it's not set to 0 for those two settings, it always seems to lag at some point.
See, maybe it's just easier for me, but whenever I plug it in, I just set it to the Wii U presets. Maybe those. I mean, I trust what their presets are, so.
Of course, I'm doing most of my stuff not necessarily through HDMI too.
Right. So that might also be a problem.
No actually, now I think about it, I actually do have an HDMI upscaler for the Wii. So.
Speaking of streaming and Twitch, Twitch might be bought by YouTube. There was like a rumor a couple weeks ago, but nothing's really come of it since then. So I wonder if it's actually going through. But that was the rumor, is that not Twitch buying YouTube, YouTube buying Twitch. Did I say?
I had heard Microsoft actually wanted to buy them at one point.
Yeah, they
and
probably
never in my life did I ever think, please God, let Microsoft buy out a company.
Better than Yahoo.
So is it technically Google buying them, or?
I mean, the way they're phrasing it, it sounds like YouTube is buying it. Obviously, Google's got the cache that they're using, and it would be a Google property, but I think YouTube's kind of like independent-ish. So it would
kind
be
of a subsidiary.
Yeah. So I think it would be counted as like a YouTube buyout. We'll see.
If they could buy to backing up all of your old videos on Twitch.
Exactly. A lot of people I know weren't really happy about that news, but I think it'll be okay.
If I had feelings, I don't know, I'd probably react to it.
You said you wanted Microsoft to buy them instead. Obviously, you have some pent-up anger or issues.
No, just logic. Speaking of Twitch, though, I heard they're going to be streaming E3 content this week. Is that correct?
Don't they usually stream E3 content?
I don't know. I usually watch on Spike or Oh, never mind.
Whoops.
Last year, I believe they were all streamed on Spike. Well, outside of Nintendo, but all that was left, I believe, was on Spike, and I guess they're not doing Sony or Ubisoft this year.
Interesting.
So looks like it's just going to be Microsoft and EA, and then we'll have to go venture online to find everything else.
Wait, can't you? You can watch the Sony conference in like a theater, can't you? Like there's movie theaters around the country, like streaming it.
Yeah, the nearest one for me is about 2 hours away, though.
You should totally do it, Spooey.
I would, but I have a house that I gotta clean and a garage and a bin that's coming tomorrow, and that whole eye exam the next day and stuff.
Why do today what you can put off till tomorrow? That's what I say.
Besides, though, by the time I get there, I would never be able to watch the two press conferences prior to it.
Right, that's true.
So, and I want to see what this year's Medal of Honor is going to be like, and I want to have Joel McHale make a joke about something rabid related.
We'll see.
So, anybody looking forward to anything from Sony? All right. So, anybody looking forward to anything from Microsoft?
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the Vita, like if it's still like actually something they talk about tomorrow.
Well, they supposedly killed off the PSP finally.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I was like, didn't they do that a couple of years ago?
In Japan.
Yeah.
I would have had no idea, honestly. I knew the PlayStation 2 they killed off last year, but I thought the PSP was actually already dead.
The Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, I looked at the E3 trailer for that. Looked pretty cool.
Yeah. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Can't wait for that. I really hope like it gets a console port, a Wii U port, just because most of my time in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate was on the console. I mean, part of that was kind of because it was the only version that had online, whereas the 3DS version of Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate is going to have online. But there's something about like hunting monsters in HD on the screen with like the Pro controller that just feels right to me. Of course, the 3DS is great for Monster Hunter 2. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for it. It's what they should have had at frickin' PAX. Frickin' Capcom decided to skip out on PAX, but oh
Is it coming to Wii U too?
well. Not that we know of. We'll see.
Okay.
Just
Could
3D,
you
just
think it
3DS.
would sell systems if it came out for it though?
It
Not here.
Yeah, I mean, it might do it in Japan,
sell
but
systems. I'm not sure if it would do it in Japan. The console releases usually don't do too well over there.
Did you
What's up?
did you guys? Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was all I wanted to say.
Okay. Did you guys see the VG charts claim that Wii U outsold Microsoft by 100,000 units last month?
I did not
I did
because
not either.
VG Charts is not reliable whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, I don't know where they get their numbers or how they. But
I think they guess for the most part.
oh wow.
Come on, any website that spells a word with a Z at the end
Yeah.
has to be
Yeah,
most
trust.
reliable.
You know what the dumbest thing about that is? They used to be vgcharts.org, and then they changed it to
Oh.
charts.com.
That's funny. Oh
I
god.
don't know why they did that. It's like
Because they're selling out now.
They-
That's what com means.
they wanted to undermine their own credibility. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me.
Witcher 3 got a release date, February 24th. So not an exclusive, but I think most of the good stuff is actually third party.
Really?
What's Witcher 3 coming out on?
PC, PlayStation 4, X1. I think that's it.
Oh, it's coming out from Mac OS as well. Right.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go. So I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying there aren't a lot of good exclusives, but because Forza Horizon 2, I like that. Sunset Overdrive is cool. Sure, Sony has a bunch of cool ones. Halo 5, but I think like Battlefront is EA.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 15, although it's not going to be there, and Kingdom Hearts 3, those are all multi-platform. Like there's so many games that are multi-platform. I think we're gonna see less exclusives this time than in the last gen, just because of the costs and everything. But
Yeah.
what do you think?
That sounds about right, I think. What about you,
Unless it's like a first or second party kind of thing. Pretty
Mhm.
much everything I'm going to see is going to be, at least on not to knock the Wii U, but it's probably going to be at least on the PS4 or the Xbox One or the PS3 and the Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I hope we get some like new, freshish games out of E3. It's kind of what I want. Like
Mhm.
people are talking about like the what is the new Bungie MMO thing, Destiny or
Mhm.
that kind
Kind
of
of like Borderlands.
yeah, it looks kind of samey to me.
I
Titanfall,
really haven't followed it that much myself either.
a lot of these projects look kind of samey to me. So
Do you know they're spending $500 million on Destiny?
I heard something like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, when Destiny comes out and it's a success and they decide to have, like, a spin-off game for it,
Hmm
are they going to call it Destiny's Child?
It's a possibility. They might even get Destiny's Child to be in the game.
Didn't they break up?
The
Mhm.
power of Kodak knows no bounds, Spooey.
I still
what
say,
budget do you need to spend $500 million?
you don't.
A lot of that's probably marketing and paying off journalists to say it's awesome.
I keep seeing all these stories. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I really don't follow a lot of the current games anymore.
Spooey, you Luddite.
I have actually played some of the modern gen, not the newest gen, but like of the of the Wii, PS3, Xbox 360.
That's 8 years old, dude.
But but it's still modern. They still come out with it. But I keep seeing these stories about, oh, we put all this money into it and it needs to sell all these many copies in order for it to become a success, and it's like, I look at these games that people make and they sell as like a downloadable game for like $3 that are like an instant hit, and it's like a great game that are better than these other games that cost $300 million, and it's like, why don't you just make a good game instead of stop throwing money into a bottomless pit?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Amen.
I think
Then you won't have to sell, this many copies or make $600 million back, for your company to stay afloat.
I don't really care for the guy, but Jim Sterling had a good video about this. Basically, the game publishers, the big ones, are all so greedy that they want the biggest hits possible. Like if something breaks even and makes like 5% of its budget back, that's not enough. It has to do like GTA levels of um, business, which is kind of depressing. But on the other side, you have, there are like so many indies. It feels like since like 2010, the number of like indies like on consoles has just like exploded. Um, so there's a lot of stuff on the low end and um, not really a whole lot of variation on the high end, but they're still getting made. But you're not seeing a lot of like mid-tier games, like the stuff that like Atlas prolifically um, translated during the PS2 days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember how?
Nope.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Remember how Square Enix was like complaining for months about how, oh, Tomb Raider's a failure. Oh, and then it came out later. Actually, it sold really well.
Mm-hmm.
It just took a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing. They're impatient. They don't have very good foresight.
Right.
I think that tends to be a problem.
Mm.
And there's a lot of issues with being because it seems counterintuitive to them to try new things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you keep doing the same things over and over again, it creates diminishing returns anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get companies that rely on the first week basically for sales to determine if something's a hit or not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like if your game's good enough, it's going to carry you for a long time. It's like, look at Brain Age. Nobody expected Brain Age to be this big seller, and that was a system seller for the DS. It was like all the people that they didn't expect were going to buy that, because that got to a lot of adults. It got to a lot of people who hadn't played games for a long time.
Nintendo
It was huge in Japan over here, and it just kept selling for a long time.
Mm-hmm. That game's like the original Animal Crossing. Nintendo of America was very hesitant to localize it because it was just like so quirky. But then they brought it over and it was a huge hit.
And now the same games come out for like 5 different systems.
I know. What was the game that came out recently that sold a bunch? Oh, Watch Dogs. That game came out. Apparently.
I heard that wasn't even all that great anyway.
Yeah.
Oh.
I heard it wasn't awful, but I heard it wasn't like, oh my god, I've been waiting 2 years for this. It's the one thing I've needed in my life.
Well, it turned a lot of heads because when they first showed it off, the graphics were like mind-blowing, and then they had to scale it back a ton for when they actually found out what the new consoles could do, which apparently wasn't as much as they thought, which left people disappointed. And it has like the same kind of open world-ish gameplay with like a couple twists. Apparently multiplayer's pretty bad. That's one of my friends says. One of my other friends is like really like addicted to like the alternate game part of it. Like there's a smartphone game you can play that like does something with your save file on your main game. It's pretty cool.
But yet they still bought it, right?
Right? I don't know. I have to ask them.
Well, it also has I think also I could be totally wrong, but maybe they were trying to also compromise because they had the last gen versions to worry about too.
Right.
And they really scaled them back, and low frame rates, kind of sparse looking environments. Like the pop in, even on the PC version on Ultra, the
Mhm.
pop in is really bad. Vehicles will come up like really close, and it's very very noticeable. Like, and the other thing is, um, on the last gen versions, it runs at there are scenes where it's like 20 frames.
Mhm.
So, but apparently the driving is kind of stiff, and so yeah, it seems like they got something to build on.
Mm.
But going with even doing last gen versions was probably not a great idea. But like you said, maybe it's too early to squeeze that much out of the systems to meet the E3 target. But it didn't look that that demo didn't look like a target. I thought
Right.
that was just real game running, and it probably was.
Yeah.
But some really souped up PC build, I suppose.
Right. It's weird that it seems like, yeah, it was like a super high-end PC build, but then when it came time to ship the PC version, they scaled it down just so that the PC version wouldn't be like the obvious one to get, I think.
Mhm.
Something weird happened.
So how come in what was it 2004? I guess that's when Spider-Man 2 came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man 2. How come they can make like an open world environment on like the Xbox, the original Xbox, where it really you didn't see a whole lot of stuff loading, and once in a while you saw like a tiny little thing open up. But that thing was like open world, and it was like you didn't have to wait for like whole sections of the area to load or anything like that. How come they could do that 10 years ago on 2 generations ago the system, but because of graphics they can't get it done now?
Are you referring to Watch Dogs?
Yeah,
That
like
has,
if things are popping in because of like it's too much. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
well, the level of detail has obviously gone up. Textures are much, much, much higher res. And
but it's all preloaded anyway.
not necessarily. It has to still be loaded into like RAM and stuff, um, which sometimes isn't fast enough, which is why you had that whole GDDR3 thing from a couple years ago for the PS4. Um, just level of complexity goes up, dude. Sometimes things get prioritized over other things. World keeps spinning.
All I know is the game I'm most interested in buying right now is probably that Far Cry 3. What is it called? Blood Dragon, I
Blood
think.
Dragon.
It's like 350 right now on Xbox.
Mm.
X 360. It's on. It's till Monday, I guess. For the deal of the week. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I could maybe buy that thing.
I heard it's
Why
really
go out?
fun. I heard
Why
it's
go
really
out
fun.
and spend $500 on a new system and then buy another $60 game and when I could just buy, this? And shockingly enough, I may buy a downloadable game for my 360.
Do you ever
Again,
play Steam for Mac games on your
I've
Mac?
never played Steam before, so
Oh, well,
I would. I mean, if I had,
it's Game of the Year 2002 or whatever, dude.
if I, what was that? Say that again.
It's Game of the Year 2002.
What is?
Steam for Mac.
It came of the year 2002.
Actually, it probably wasn't that early. I think it was like 2007, something like that. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, I'm lost in thought now. Yeah, I mean, I literally, again, while I was cleaning my basement yesterday, I found the 2 games I actually bought for my Mac probably back in like 99, 2000. I don't think they run on OS X. One was StarCraft, and the other was You Don't Know Jack, the original volume. So
I don't know what that is.
you don't know Jack?
Right.
Oh, well, I guess you don't know Jack then, right?
I don't. I don't.
Barely scratching the surface, are we here?
I don't know. You don't know Jack.
Imagine a bald, disembodied head making wisecracks at everything that you do, regardless of if you get he asks you trivia questions, and even if you get them right, he's still gonna like talk about how much you don't know what you're talking about. And that's pretty much the whole game. They ask you usually like, what is it, 21, I think, questions, and then they're like pretty, really trivialized, like Jeopardy to the extreme kind of questions.
That doesn't sound fun.
My uncle, I remember the first game he played, He got 19 of 21 questions correct. And he wanted to dispute the 2 that they said were wrong. And then the voice at the end says, barely scratching the surface, aren't we? And it's like, he just got, 87%, 89% of all your questions right. Yeah.
And that's a Mac game.
Well, it was on PC and Mac. Actually, they did an updated version of it on 360 and PS3 a couple of years back. They might have done one on the Wii. I'm not even sure now.
You can get it on Steam, too.
You should get Steam for Mac, Spooey. Then you can spend a bunch of money on a bunch of games you'll never play. Actually, forget that.
I do that now.
That's probably a bad idea.
Actually, yeah, they did. They came out with a version on the Wii. It's $9.35 at Amazon with free shipping right now. Came out February 2011. It's got a 4.5 rating between 91 customers. So, unlike most games that cost under $10 for the Wii, people apparently actually bought this one and like it. So. But now if you try to watch it, it's going to feel all like, standard definition-y and stuff.
Standard definition is so lame,
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 looks mind-blowing.
But how does Mario Kart Wii look?
Mario Kart Wii did not... I was very disappointed. I think Mario Kart Wii looked worse than Double Dash, to be honest. Like, there was...
I like Double Dash. I actually thought that was a pretty decent game.
I mean, I think they shifted resources to make, like, the tracks more intricate and involved and stuff. But, like, the racers were, like, super low poly. Donkey Kong, like, it was like a joke when they released screenshots. People, like, made fun of Donkey Kong because he, like, looked totally awful compared to, like, the Donkey Kong and Jungle Beat that came out, like, a few years prior. Like, no fur shading, the fur was
Donkey
all
Kong
fake.
Jungle Beat came out on the GameCube.
Exactly, which is what I'm saying. Like, I just think Mario Kart Wii was not a good-looking game whatsoever.
Yeah,
Anybody remember Super Circuit?
The Game Boy Advance game?
Yeah.
What was that, Brandon?
I was just gonna say any Nintendo game that has Donkey Kong has to have fur shading. If it doesn't, that's way below par. By the way, another thing about Witcher 3, just by the by, about fur shading, they actually have it now so that the fur animates. So when the wolf runs or the bear, like in the new trailer, there's a bear running at Geralt, and the fur actually moves in the wind. Like, it's amazing.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
That's next gen.
That's going to be on the back of the box, right? Animated fur.
Yes.
High resolution 4K animated fur.
Yeah. You can watch it in 4K, but you really can't because no one has. It's not optimized well enough. Let's see.
Yeah, the graphics cards probably can't support it that well either, I would imagine.
YouTube supports 4K, but I don't know any monitors that do yet. So.
Right. Netflix has a couple 4K things. I think House of Cards got 4K a while back, but it doesn't really matter since nothing that really plays Netflix does 4K anyways. Like, my Chromecast goes up to 1080p, but that's about it.
Well, it's a good thing I'm saving all my VHS copies with my 640 by 480 resolution. Which itself is kind of a lie because they're actually recorded at less than that.
Right.
So
isn't that like the Xbox, PlayStation 2 resolution, or?
No, actually, Xbox could actually, I believe, support up to 720p for some of their games.
Or 480p.
Yep.
Yeah, for the most part, it was 480p, but they actually did have a lot of games that did support 720. Some of them in widescreen, some of them full frame. I know, like Soul Calibur 2 was one of the 720s, but it's 720 full frame, if that makes any sense.
So it's a square, basically, or
yeah,
4 by
but
3.
But there are a few of them that actually were, full widescreen progressive 720. On the PS2, I think only 2 games that came out in North America actually supported above 480. Tourist Trophy was one, and the other was, I believe, Gran Turismo 4.
Right. I heard that about Gran Turismo, which is all the more mind-blowing that the Wii could barely do 480p for its entire life cycle.
I mean, the Wii was more than capable of doing it. I think developers were just lazy to put it in a lot of time.
Right.
I mean, F-Zero, I believe F-Zero GX on the GameCube supported 420p or 480p. So if you have your components on the Wii, you should be able to play it fine and nice widescreen progressive.
I remember watching Screensavers, and Kevin Rose and some other guy were fawning over how what was that tennis game on Xbox? Top Spin.
Top Spin, yep.
It ran in 480p, and they're like, oh, 480p. Oh, it's a funny blast from the past.
Yeah. It's like
I remember they did a high definition episode of X-Play, which aired in standard definition, which kind of defeated the purpose because they didn't have high definition for like 2 or 3 more years.
By the way, speaking of defeating the purpose, when I watch YouTube and I have a 1080p monitor, I put it in 1080p and it doesn't look any different from 720. It looks terrible, actually. Most of the high definition stuff on YouTube, when you actually make it full screen, doesn't really look as good as when I watch TV. Why is that?
It's probably because the bit rate is substantially lower. It's the same thing as like with various MP3 files. Some of them are 64 kilobits per second, some are 256, and there's like a huge difference between them. So a lot of the videos on YouTube are lower bit rate in order to be bandwidth conscious, which is kind of annoying. I think Netflix has a higher bit rate, but they have fewer videos to compress and store, so that's probably why.
Oh, okay.
YouTube actually splits their 1080 videos now into a separate audio and video track.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, because I have a downloading codec for both Safari and, is it Fire? I never get it right. Firefox or Foxfire? I always confuse the 2 names.
It's been Firefox for like 10 years, dude.
Yeah, I have, one of them's the Angelina Jolie movie and one's the Clint Eastwood movie, right?
What?
Anyway, so I have codecs for it that can download the videos directly from YouTube. And I have one specifically for the Mozilla browser, which we will not name, that can download the video as well. And now if you try to download the 1080p file for it, it actually downloads them to separate files. It gives you the audio file and it gives you the video file, and you can't actually play either of them. For whatever reason, the way they encode it, it separates it. So the highest resolution you can actually download anything now from YouTube is at 720p.
I have an extension in Chrome that lets me do that. I disabled it because it kept resizing and shrinking the video, which was kind of annoying. Also, about Firefox, originally it was known as Phoenix, but then they named it Firebird, but then there was another database software that was called Firebird, so they renamed it to Firefox. But originally, way before that, it was, a lot of the code came from Netscape. So I guess you could still consider it Netscape.
Why? That explains so much now.
I'm sure
Netscape was the preferred browser prior to Steve Jobs coming back to Apple in like 97. And he actually said that Internet Explorer was the better browser for Mac. And he was right.
They released IE 5.5, right? And just let it die.
Hello?
Hello?
The audio just got really weird for me.
Oh, sorry. This computer, I'm trying to load up your Amazon link. This computer is not very resource capable, so I'm not even loading the page. Okay, you guys there? You still there? Hello?
I'm here. I can hear you really like tinty, like 47 kilobyte quality.
Well, you guys are still coming in fine.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter what I sound like to you guys because my voice is being piped directly into the podcast, so I always sound amazing.
And I suck regardless of how I sound.
That's also true. I think we should wrap up here. I think we had a good show tonight, guys. Thank you.
Well, wait a second. What's everybody looking forward to that hasn't been announced yet at E3?
Well, we can't look forward to something that hasn't been announced yet.
Exactly. What do you want to? What do you want to see from? What's the main thing you want to see from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo that haven't been announced yet?
I want a main series Fable game, and I want a new Perfect Dark that doesn't involve Joanna Dark with a bulbous head running around with a gun that you control with Kinect, and it's like a party game. I don't want that. Just want a real Perfect Dark.
I think I heard
So
that
Rare's not going to make it.
I think I heard that Rare was like shut down recently, didn't I?
Well, Rare is basically a Kinect sweatshop now, and they had a huge failure with the Kinect Sports Rivals. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just not the same company that they used to be. Not even close.
Nope.
But I'll tell you one thing that I'm really looking forward to. This is a multi-platform. The next Red Dead. Because I believe that will be shown in a teaser form, probably. I don't know. They haven't said. But we know that's continuing. They said so. So I'm hoping that's there.
I think a lot of stuff got announced this past week, like Mortal Kombat X and similar. For me personally, I don't really. I mean, what I want from Sony and Microsoft is just like new properties, new series. On the flip side, what I want from Nintendo is like the opposite of that, which is either Twilight Princess HD remastered or a Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 HD collection. Those really brighten my year up, I think. I don't know what else they can announce. I mean, they're pretty much a Donkey Kong game just came out. They're probably not going to do Metroid for a while. I guess they could do a Star Fox, but actually do a good one this time.
Hey.
We'll see.
I never got the backlash for the Star Fox games, honestly.
Adventures is awesome. I don't know.
People always say that games don't, when they come out, that they're not changing, they're not doing anything different. It's the same old game. Like every Star Fox game that's ever come out has done something different, and all people have done was complain because it wasn't either the original or it wasn't 64.
Well, 64, I think, was kind of why people think that. Like, it took the same format and structure of the first game, but just did a lot more with it. I don't think anybody was asking for, like, furry side plot romances or foot missions or anything like that. That's not why people play Star Fox generally. And Nintendo seems to get that. I think Command was kind of like, for DS, that was kind of going back to basics.
Did they actually make that game, or was that one farmed out?
I think it might have been farmed out, but I know that what's his face, the guy who was originally behind Star Fox, was also behind Command.
Because I know Assault was through Namco.
Right, let me look it up.
Looks like Q Games and EAD Group 2.
Yeah, Q Games. Who's
Well,
that
what
guy?
I want to see, I'd like to see a new side-scrolling Metroid game on the Wii U. I'd like to actually see, like, go old school, do it side-scrolling, but do, like, HD graphics for it, you know?
I think you'll be disappointed.
Something that's not going to be handheld like the last one was on Game Boy when they remade the first game. What I liked about the first game was that it didn't tell you anything. You had to explore everything yourself, and then when they remade it for Game Boy, it basically said, go here. This is where you need to go. Follow the path to here, you know? And it's like, it's a short enough game as it is. Just let people play the game. I don't know. That or a new F-Zero would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I believe one was kind of hinted at one point for the Wii. I remember back in 2006, about 3 weeks prior to E3, somebody asked Reggie at the Nintendo store, you know, what are you going to do for, like, driving games, like F-Zero or something? He's like, oh, you watch the show, and you'll see what's going to happen. And they announced Excite Truck, basically.
Right.
But we never got anything for F-Zero. And
a new Excite Truck game would be pretty cool, I think.
well, they had Excite Truck and Excite Bots, right?
Right. and Excitebots was like a super bomb. So
And then they'll come out with Excite Bugs. Bugs that transform into a car.
they were already bugs in
I
Excitebots.
know, and bots, right?
Yeah.
Well, Excite. Maybe they'll just go back into Excite Bike then. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or maybe they'll come out with Project Hammer.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Did you hear that Sadness is getting revived, or was getting revived, or is completely
Was there
lost?
anything to revive?
No, there wasn't, and
There was
still
a trailer. That was about it. Right?
there still isn't like any active development. Apparently, there's like 5 companies bidding on this non-existent intellectual property for some reason.
Videotape somebody in front of
Yeah,
a blank screen and then silhouette it and then put it on the internet and say, "This is a game that's coming to the
Yeah.
Wii U in a couple of years." They will love it. So.
I just think maybe some people didn't want to see the joke die. Like, oh, Sadness is definitely coming out now, you guys.
And I heard they're going to change it to Happiness, and it's going to be about unicorns and rainbows.
What a sellout.
Yeah. See, Sony, I'd like to see a new Jumping Flash game, which will never happen. But it would be awesome if it did. Even if it's like a downloadable game.
What
that
about
would still be awesome.
What about Parappa?
I was never too big into Parappa because there was the same like twitchy control kind of DDR except with your fingers.
You're a twitchy control.
Unless they do like a DDR version of Parappa where it's like dancing and singing and moving the controller.
That might be a possibility.
And then for Microsoft, I don't know, Minesweeper HD would probably be the thing that I'm thinking of. So I don't know what else did Microsoft really have?
They don't really have much. They just have like a bunch of third party.
Blood Wake 2 or
Grabbed by the Ghoulies 2.
I
or
would go
Brute
for that.
Force continues. You know.
The developer force is gone though.
Yeah, well, that was their only game, right?
Yeah, Anvil.
Digital Anvil, I think, was the company,
Digital,
right?
Mm-hmm.
They released one game, and then like a month later, they're like, sorry about that, you guys are dead now.
Who has Power Stone?
That's Capcom.
Oh, okay.
So that's screwed over. That's
Yeah,
too.
they don't have anything. They're not going to do anything with that anytime soon.
What I would love to see, I mean, this would be great, is if Nintendo bought out the rights to like Mega Man entirely, and then had like Inafune come back and do the new game for it. Then I would like buy like every single Nintendo system that's out right now.
I don't think they really need Inafune. They just need like rights for one of their teams to make a platform. But then again, I mean they farmed out Yoshi's New Island, and apparently that game sucks. So I don't think Nintendo making classic platformers is high on their priority list right now, unfortunately.
But that's why you get him to come back for it. Every game that he worked on, when he started moving away from the Mega Man games, you could see the lack in quality as the games went on.
Right.
I don't know if you because I have the artwork books, basically the collected artworks, and they have like the little quotes from them.
I mean,
and you'll notice he'll say something like, "Well, I didn't really work on this game. This person did, or it was handed off to these people while I was working on this." And it's like every time he said that, like the game series got worse with each of those games.
He seems pretty focused on Mighty Number 9 right now. Although I think he said that if like if Capcom let him use the Mega Man IP, he would like reskin Mighty Number 9 in a heartbeat to be a Mega Man game, which is kind of sad.
Well, you saw the other game that he had, right?
No.
He had a game that looked like it was a cross between Mega Man X and Mega Man Zero that he also showed off.
Wasn't it? Yeah. Now that you think about, now that
I think
you say it.
I'm trying to look it up right now. I think it's called Azura Striker Gunvolt is the name of the game.
Yeah, and it takes place in like the same universe or whatever.
Yeah, and it looks like it's right between the Mega Man X and Mega Man Zero territory.
Yeah, so. That doesn't surprise me.
But hopefully they'll show off more of that on there too. So.
Yeah, hopefully.
But that's about it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's about it too.
You guys are gonna be watching, I'm sure, either online or the show tomorrow, right?
Probably not. I'll be at work. I'm not gonna be at work Tuesday, so I'll be able to catch the Nintendo stream. Hopefully, it doesn't keep going down. If only so that I don't have to hear some people complaining about it.
Well, I'm sure the Japanese feed will be working because
there is no Japanese feed.
There's no Japanese feed. Last time they did it, they had 3 feeds. They had North America, Europe, and Japan. And Japan went fine. Europe one had a little bit of stutters, and the US one just died after like 2 minutes.
I think maybe they do have a Japan one, but it's subtitled. It's not like actual Japanese language.
Is Inafune gonna walk out in like a white room and then like wearing a suit and then say give some kind of speech about investors and new properties that they're hoping that will make people happy? And
Inafune?
Or not Inafune, Iwata.
Iwata will not be at the E3.
Oh, he's sick, right? Isn't
Yeah, he's taking an abstain. He's abstaining from.
Who are they gonna have give the show?
Probably Reggie.
Oh God.
Better than Cammy.
She's been gone from the company for like 3 or 4 years.
They brought her back, Spooie. Just
Who's
for
the guy
you.
who does the I forget his name now. Who's the guy who's with Miyamoto as like the translator?
Bill Trinan.
They should have him do it, honestly.
They do.
He's like one of the only guys like I trust at the company right now to, where he says something he kind of somewhat in earnest means what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll show up a couple times at various sections throughout the game, probably to translate like Sakurai or some of the other people. We'll see.
We know Jack Tretton's going to be working for Spike TV tomorrow, right?
I did not know that. I do
And
not
he's
know who that is either.
Jack Tretton's the guy who has done the Sony stuff for all these years.
Right.
He was the CEO for Sony for years.
Right.
He actually gave the best press conferences the last couple of years because he doesn't come off as a guy who's just trying to push something on you. He's like got a sense of humor. If he like screws up on something, he jokes about it and goes with it, you know? He's not just like, hey, check out this Ridge Racer game, you know? And it's like, you know, the Ridge Racer.
It's all an
It's
act,
Ridge Racer.
Spooie.
Yeah, so. But it's like, you know, he screws up and he does something, and it's like you feel like he actually feels just good getting up there, like having a good time for the whole thing. But then he left, so he's not with Sony anymore.
Right. There's no Kevin Butler either, since he was in that Mario Kart advertisement for that tire company, and they sued him.
Well, I don't think they sued him. They just they forced the company to take it down because the what was it? It was like a Wii promo, right?
I'm pretty sure they sued that company or him or both.
His contract said that they couldn't be in like a competing game or something like that. And I don't think they went after him. I think they actually just went after the company itself and had the company take it down, and you know, it probably isn't helping his career
right.
much.
I thought that was pretty funny. Anyways,
I liked him though. I don't know.
Yeah, he was not horrible. His E3 speech from a few years ago was freaking annoying, I think, but
I long for the return of Marcus.
I don't know who that is.
He's the PSP guy. Step the game up, people.
What
Remember
about
like
Howard Lincoln?
Howard Lincoln or Hal Phillips?
Both.
Oh, well, Lincoln, I think is like runs operations for the Mariners now, and Howard Phillips, I forget where he is now. I mean, he used to work at Microsoft too, so he might even still be there. I don't know.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for showing up. We have a lot to look forward to tomorrow and Tuesday. I'm planning to do another one of these for each day, so Monday and Tuesday. You guys can show up again.
When are you going to do it Monday, though? I mean, they're going to be streaming until probably like midnight or so.
We can do it while they're doing stuff. Doesn't really matter.
You're just like watching silence and be like,
oh
yeah, I didn't expect that to happen. Yeah.
Wow, what a great trailer. Yeah. We can
live reactions to things that everybody else is looking at the same exact time.
Exactly. We can do that.
Except not as bad as Twilight.
Nothing will be that bad.
No one's going to cry if Kaz Hirai takes his shirt off or anything, are they?
Well, I might, but that's just stuff. Anyways, goodbye, everybody.
Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you, Brandon and Chris, for showing up.
You're welcome. And I'm sure this will be uploaded tonight.
It will.
For everybody.
It will. Unless Game of Thrones catches up on me, but that probably
Today is June 8th, 2014, so...
Shh, Spooie. Shh. This is recorded on insert date here. Alright, end of podcast.
Have fun, everybody.
Happy E3.